Hello and welcome to the Amateur Austenite. My name is Frances Duncan. I am an author and the founder of the Jane Austen Society of New Zealand. I am, however, unqualified for my job as I am an enthusiastic amateur. Today we are going to be talking about Chapter 4 of Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. Jane and Lizzie talk after the ball. Jane likes Bingley. There's background on the Bingleys, and then Bingley and Darcy talk after the ball. You find out that Bingley likes Jane and Darcy likes no one. So this is a post-ball debrief, or some people would say post-mortem of the ball. It's really got a lovely balance that it starts with the girls talking and then it ends with the boys talking, and then it also provides all of that information about the Bingleys without anyone having to be having that discussion, because that's mostly in the authorial voice. What's interesting about Bingley and Darcy's discussion is it doesn't have quotes the same as Lizzie and Jane do. It says, Bingley had never met with pleasanter people or prettier girls in his life. Everybody had been most kind and attentive to him. There had been no formality, no stiffness. He had soon felt acquainted with all the room. And all of that sounds like a direct quote from Mr. Bingley, but it's not in quotation marks. And it's the same about Mr. Darcy. He had seen a collection of people in whom there was little beauty and no fashion, for none of whom he had felt the smallest interest, and from none received either attention or pleasure. It also shows the difference between the two friends, which is quite stark. Their friendship is described as a very steady friendship in spite of great opposition of character, and then it goes on to explain the differences between the two and ends with, Bingley was sure of being liked wherever he appeared. Darcy was continually giving offence, which is exactly what happened at the Meryton Assembly. So there are a couple of themes that I thought were in this chapter. Friendship, for one. You see the friendship between Bingley and Darcy. You see the friendship between Elizabeth and Jane. There's also a theme of social class or inheritance, because in here we discuss how Mr. Bingley got his money. He inherited property to the amount of nearly £100,000 from his father, but that money was made from trade, so that's a social class issue. He didn't have an estate, though he did intend to buy one. Between him and Darcy there was a very steady friendship in spite of great opposition of character, which is true. And I think that opposition of character is mirrored a little bit in the friendship between Elizabeth and Jane, but I also think they're similar in a lot of ways. One of my favourite quotes from this chapter is, I would not wish to be hasty in censoring anyone, but I always speak what I think. This is from Jane, but I think that Elizabeth could potentially say the same thing. She doesn't wish to be hasty in censoring anyone. It's just that perhaps she's not quite aware that she's doing it. And she does always speak what she thinks. So this is another short chapter, about 3 pages in my book. There's talk about compliments. I did not accept such a compliment, says Jane. Compliments always take you by surprise, and me never, says Elizabeth. And then ends that paragraph with, you have liked many a stupider person, when she's talking about Bingley, which is a bit of a backhanded compliment to Bingley, I think, and to Jane. And that is my summary of Chapter 4 of Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. My name is Frances Duncan. You can find me at Frances Duncan Writes and at Twitter at Frances_Duncan. Thank you for listening. I wish you happy reading.